Welcome to the Lost and Found podcast. I'm your host, Amanda. Join me each week as I rediscover my life's meaning, my passions, and my place in this world after leaving behind the only dream I've ever known. If you are dealing with self-loss, identity changes, career transitions, or you are still trying to figure out your life's purpose, then you're not alone. Join me. Wanderers are always welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lost and Found podcast. This is your host, Amanda. How are you? What's going on? You having a good week so far? It's time for another Wanderer Wisdom Wednesday. What would a wanderer do? Listener Q&A. I hope you guys are enjoying these so far. This will be the second week that I've done this. I'm enjoying it because it helps me feel like I'm a lot more connected to the listeners here. YouTube or Spotify, Apple, Instagram, social media, things like that. So if any of you are ever interested in submitting a question or you want to ask me something directly, you can do it through the email. So hello@podcastforthelost.com. You can send it through the anonymous questionnaire, which is also going to be linked in the show notes for this episode. Or if you want to chat directly on Instagram or TikTok, you can send me a DM there as well. So I search and collect any and all questions from all places. Today we have another email, and let's go ahead and get right into it. For the Wanderer Wisdom stuff, I try to keep it pretty direct, max 20, 30-minute quick response situation. So let's get into it for today. Let me pull this up. Okay. I think you guys are going to like this one. I don't typically share my romantic life. One, because I don't have one, but two, this show wasn't started based on romance, and there are so many other dating and relationship type podcasts that are far more well established that I think you'll get more out of or from those types of shows. So I don't normally talk about this, but this listener or this wanderer submitted a romance-based question. But what's happening to them as they're writing this email does relate to the overall themes and issues that I have covered on the show. So I think this will be helpful for other people to hear and to listen to as well. All right. And maybe you've gone through something or you'll have feedback for this person. So if anyone does have feedback, please leave it in the show, leave it in a comment, leave it, in the DMs, whatever. And I'll be happy to make sure to share that and promote it. Here we go. And this is a bit of a long one, but I think we can get through it. Hi, Amanda. I have no idea if this is going to help or not, but I'm kind of at my wit's end, so I figured why not ask you for some advice. Okay. I know your show isn't really about love or relationships, but I need help processing a breakup. To be honest, it's my first real breakup. My boyfriend and I met in our early 20s, and we were together for almost 8 years. I really thought he was the one and that we were going to end up together. At the risk of sounding like a cliche, it felt very rom-com like. We meet after seeing one another across the room. Fell in love fast, basically never left each other's side. In the few months leading up to the breakup, we had actually started talking about a serious future together, engagement, marriage, kids, potential move to another city for better jobs, figuring things out, etc. So for all intents and purposes, I assumed we were going to go the next step and he would ask me to marry him. But instead, about a month ago, he broke things off, which felt sudden and disconnected. He gave me no real reason other than something was missing. What the fuck does that even mean? I don't know. Something is missing? How could something be missing after 8 years together? If something was missing, why did he take so long to try and find it? What am I supposed to do with that? Anyway, after the breakup, I moved out of our apartment and into my sister's house to try and cool off and get some space. She did her best and continues to do her best to comfort me, but it's really hard to explain how I'm feeling to someone who has the life that I want. She's married already with kids, and her husband's great and kind to her. And I don't want to say that I'm jealous of my own sister, but sometimes it's just painful explaining how I feel because I worry I sound ungrateful or pathetic for being so heartbroken over this. And I don't want her to feel bad for having a life that I want. And I don't want her to feel bad for having a life that I want and that she does deserve too. I know that's unfair, but it's how I feel. Sorry this is so long. My point is, what I wanted to ask was that I have no idea how to start over. The first day I went to my sister's house, she offered me coffee and asked me how I liked it, and out of reflex I said cream 2 sugars. But then I told her no, because that's how my boyfriend wanted it. That's how he always ordered it, and I realized that I have no idea how I like it. I would order what he would order just to keep things simple. I would wear what he liked or what he thought looks good on me, even though I wasn't always a fan of the color he would pick. And I felt a part of me completely melt in agony in that moment when I couldn't order my own coffee. What do I even like? Do I even know what I want when he's not around? Is it really possible for you to blend your identity so close to someone else's that you can lose who you are? I'm going back to the apartment to get my last few things, and I really don't want him to be there. I don't know that I can stand to see his face. I worry confronting him so soon after the breakup when I'm vulnerable is a bad idea. What can I do? How do I move on from someone who I thought I was meant to be with? How do I recover from something is missing when I became everything he said he ever wanted? If I'm not living for him and not living for our life together anymore, then what am I supposed to do? Wow. Okay. There are a lot of questions in this, and I want to do my best to be respectful to each one of them. So we're just going to start from the top of the email and work our way down. But let me just first say, I am so sorry that this happened to you, and I'm so sorry that something that you valued and held close and dear ended, and that precious moment in your life is now over. The pain that can come from a breakup, I think there's two types of major breakup pain, right? One where you feel completely blindsided, where you weren't expecting it, so you had no what you believe you had no signs of precursors of any of these issues coming up and or expecting a breakup to happen. That's terrifying because you're living in a reality that's completely different from your partner's. And so you assume you're both moving in parallel, but it turns out you're not. And when you find out that you're not, it can shatter your whole world, right? And then there's a separate type of pain from a breakup where nothing really was wrong. No one cheated, no one lied, no one committed some kind of heinous breaking of trust, or disrespect. Things just started to fade, drifted apart, things weren't working or clicking as well as they used to or whatever. Where the type of breakup where, kind of like what your boyfriend said, there's just something missing. The connection is gone. And when it's not really anyone's particular fault, right? You can't blame the breakup on a decisive or a divisive event. It's sad. It's upsetting, and you're never really able to let go of that person from your heart because they didn't really do anything wrong. Breakups often come with a whole lot of complicated feelings and emotions, and some breakups are easier than others to get over. It takes you a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of hours, and then some of them take you years. And this sounds like this is going to be one of those ones where you might need extra help beyond what your sister can offer you, beyond what some of your friends can offer you. And if you are open to it, I think, and if you haven't already sought therapy, you may want to, because letting go of someone that was that significant in your life, your 20s are your most tumultuous, important growth years. You're changing multiple times over. I know I did in my 20s. I had multiple relationships in my 20s, long-term ones, and each one pivoted me again and again. And so I became a different person after each one because I learned about myself after each one. And you've had one relationship in your 20s. So that one person does have a hold on you and a hold on who you are and who you became. And it would make sense that this is really hard for you to let go of. So let's see. I assumed that we were going to move on to the next step, but a month ago he broke things off, which suddenly felt disconnected, and he gave me no real reason other than something was missing. This does kind of sound like one of those blindsided breakups where you didn't tell me what kind of communication or possible signs you thought could have been there, and you may not be ready for hindsight moments, but it does kind of sound like maybe the two of you were drifting or you weren't communicating what was going on. And if he chose not to communicate how he was feeling, which again, I don't know if he tried, but if he chose to not communicate how he was feeling and he was burying that deep, it's very possible that for him, this breakup wasn't sudden. This breakup was building up to this moment. And when you guys had that serious conversation about, all right, next stage is engagement, next stage is marriage, next stage, and then after that, marriage, kids, the whole nine yards, it's possible that it overwhelmed him. Not that that was your fault. I don't think that it was. But it's possible that by burying how he really felt and not expressing it, he possibly could have been backed into a corner. And the only way out was to finally tell the truth, and to finally tell the truth that he loves you and cares for you deeply. But for whatever reason, he can't envision the future that you have envisioned. And I don't want that to be, without knowing his side, I don't want that to be taken like he's a liar. I don't think he lied to you. I've been in relationships before where the person wholeheartedly could see and say things that matched what I was seeing and saying. And it's entirely possible that in that moment they believed it. And then later, when they had time on their own, could think through what they had done and what they had said and realize that it wasn't actually what they wanted. And sometimes you go along with it because you want to make the other person happy. And the truth is that relationships are not going to work long term unless both of you are working on what's right for you, what's best for you, and your own personal growth. If you're investing so much in the opposite person, you may start to blend, and exactly like you think, maybe you started to lose yourself in each other, and it's possible that he didn't want to get lost anymore. Something was missing. What the fuck to say? I mean, something is missing. I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't know what it means. I've had somebody say that to me before when they've broken up with me, that either something was missing or that in an earlier episode way back in the day, I did talk about, or maybe I haven't. I don't know if I have. The last actual breakup that I went through, where it was a you're my boyfriend, you're my girlfriend, you're my partner, or whatever relationship, in that breakup, that person told me that the idea of being with me was better than the reality. And that hurt like crazy. And I know it was most likely poor word choice, that just the idea of being in a relationship at all, a serious relationship at all, was better than the reality, is what they meant. But the word choice was deafening. When something's just missing and they don't want to make that effort anymore, it hurts. It really, really hurts. But the truth is that if something is missing from their end, there is absolutely nothing you can do from yours that's going to change that. You can't do anything with that information. The only thing you can process from a statement like that in the breakup is that something was missing for them, but not missing from you. You have everything worthwhile and great to offer another partner, the right partner. But for whatever reason, you don't have the matching piece to this person's puzzle, this boyfriend's puzzle. And there's no amount of contortion you can do with your personality, your clothes, your hair, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way hobbies you pick up. There's nothing you can do to change to make them like you, love you, believe you, respect you, care about you in the way that you deserve and in the way that you need for your own personal sake. So if somebody tells you something is missing, it's missing for them. It's not missing from you. And I don't know that that will help right now in the moment. That's a lesson I had to learn through lots and lots and lots of hindsight and lots of distance from the people that I wanted to love me, the people that I wanted to be with so badly. I had to tell myself that I have everything great to offer. And for the right person, they're going to love it. They're going to be so happy to find that aspect of me, the whole package. But for whatever reason, the person that I wanted didn't want me back. But that was something missing for them, whether that's emotional readiness, maturity, attraction, interest, whatever. More likely than not, it's nothing you can do. It's nothing you can control. I know you want to control it. It sounds like you're an organized person. You care about what your partner wants and thinks and does, and you want to make them happy, hence you changing parts of yourself to match this other person. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't. And because you're already in so much pain, but it's possible that by changing who you were over the 8 years, even if it was subtle, even if it was slowly, it's possible that by your partner molding you into someone else and you being malleable enough to be molded was where the disconnect came from. It's possible that by him realizing that change over time, that he realized that what he used to think he wanted isn't actually what he wants. And that probably scared the living daylights out of him to not move forward. But this now gives you a lot of freedom because you don't have to be for him anymore. You don't have to live for him anymore. You shouldn't live for anyone but yourself. And as much as you might feel like this was a waste of your 20s, I don't think it was at all. Honestly, by having an almost 8 year long relationship and having such a major breakup like this, you've probably had closer to like 4 or 5 breakups just piled into one because you're having an identity issue, you're changing, you have to move out, you are being told, something's missing, but it's not anything necessarily wrong with you. You are learning how to cope and not be envious of other people that have the relationship that you want. You're going through multiple aspects of what all everybody else's miniature breakups are like in their 20s. So this probably feels super intense because it was such a long relationship. So you've got a whole lot more baggage to sift through compared to a normal, 6 month or when you're 25. Hats off to you for even attempting to start processing all of this. That's kind of the feel that I get based on the description that you gave me here in the email so far. After the breakup, I moved out into my sister's. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I do have an older sister and I have a younger brother. And so I understand why you idolize your sister and admire her and her life. And it's completely normal to also be envious of your sister, especially if you're close, right? And I don't think your sister would offer you the help or offer you a place to stay to get back on your feet if she didn't mean it. And I don't think she would ask you how you're feeling or what you want or what you need if she didn't mean it. So don't feel bad. Don't feel pathetic. Don't feel like you're wasting her time or that you're being mean or jealous. Those are just, they're human emotions, human feelings, and natural after a breakup. But I would be conscientious of when those feelings are popping up so that you don't accidentally say something to your sister that you will regret. And hopefully your sister has the wherewithal to go, all right, they are, because this wasn't signed, so I don't know if this, man, woman, not sure, not going to make an assumption, but my younger sibling is in pain. They're lashing out. I'm just going to leave it alone, kind of a thing. So hopefully your sister has the wherewithal if you have lashed out. But in the meantime, I don't think your sister meant anything offensive by trying to ask you, what kind of coffee you wanted. I would just accept the help, accept the graciousness. Don't take it for granted and do the work while you live there. If you are crashing until you feel better and you find a new place to live, do your best to do that, and that'll show her that you are not just trying to take advantage of her space or her time. But don't make the same mistake that you may have made in your relationship with your sister too. So if there was a moment where you were going through with your partner where you didn't tell him how you felt, you didn't tell him what you wanted or what you needed, or making sure you guys were on the same page about everything, and it potentially caused this huge rift and eventually the breakup, don't do that with your sister too. Don't don't lie to her about what you really feel and what you really think. Don't be rude about it, of course, but you could just say something simply like, I really appreciate you offering X, Y, or Z, or I'm really grateful and glad that you would ask me for ABC, but I'm not in a great place right now. And if I go do this with you, I will feel bad or I will feel rejected, envious, guilty, grief stricken, whatever, insert emotion here, troublesome emotion here for you. And I'm sure that your sister will respect you not doing the thing if you don't want to do it yet. So just be honest with her while you're living with her. Put everything out there on the table. Because if you try to hide how you feel, if you try to numb yourself with drugs, alcohol, isolation, whatever it is, you're just going to delay the inevitable, which is either another blow up or another breakdown or delay the healing process. So even if your sister is not a trained psychologist, it's okay. Do your best right now, which is hard. Do your best right now to not take it out on her because I don't think she's trying to make you feel worse. And it's okay to be jealous of your sister. I'm jealous of my other friends sometimes, or I'm envious of their situation. I think I'm more so envious of certain situations than jealous. Jealous, I feel like it's just a hot headed emotion. It's a really quick, heated thing. It feels less controlled. Envy, I feel like you want something that they have, but you don't necessarily want to be them. So envy, I feel like, can be a bit more targeted in terms of, I want this thing. How am I going to make that happen to help get rid of the envious feeling? Or how am I going to reconcile or be grateful with what I have right now to get rid of this envious feeling? Jealousy's quick fire. It's a triggering emotion. Envy can stay with you if you're not conscientious of how to retarget that kind of energy. But you're not ungrateful and you're not pathetic, and it's okay to be heartbroken over a loss like this. This is a really tragic and heavy and hurtful thing that you went through. Nothing about human emotion is fair. I don't think, really, because it's all subjective to whoever's feeling it at the time. All right, my point is I wanted to ask, I have no idea how to start over with the coffee. Yeah. Okay. What do I even like? How do I start over? Do I even know what I want when he's not around? All right. It's possible that by changing or manipulating what you thought or would think or would feel while you were with this person, you did slowly lose a part of yourself. That's entirely possible. Or you were going along with whatever society was telling you is the thing to do. Make your partner happy. You know, do make sure that they're covered, their needs are okay. Like every decision you make needs to have them in mind. Every don't rock the boat, don't cause any don't cause a problem. The same kind of stereotypes, if you're a woman, the same stereotypes were fed all the time. Make sure that they get what they need. This other person, your partner, whoever it is, gets what they want first before you get any of it. I think right now during the breakup, this is your time to shed and let go of anything that you think you were doing for this person. If you think you were doing certain types of things for this person to make them happy, you don't have to keep that going anymore. If you, let's say they were, and I'm making up examples, of course. Let's say he was a marathon runner. And so you would try to go running to make him happy or to bond with him, but you hated it. You wanted to do Pilates or yoga, or you're a hiker instead. Whatever, insert opposite thing. Go do what you wanted to do. If you're so stuck in his routine still, like if you always got up at 5 and you always did these things together, maybe start changing your routine slowly. So if you're still getting up at 5, get up at 5, but do the different workout. Don't go for a run. Do the workout that you actually like. When you come back from the workout, instead of making that coffee the way that he makes it, make it in a different way and see what you like. Do you like it with milk? Do you want oat milk? Do you want it black? Do you not want it at all? Would you rather have a tea? Like, what do you want to try? And make that in the morning. So the steps are the same, as you go throughout your day, like item after item is the same step, but the context within that step changes. So that way you're not completely destroying your whole routine that you've gotten used to, but fill in things that you want to try until you find things that you enjoy. If you like Pilates class in the morning, do that. If you would rather drink a tea in the morning, do that. If you work from 9 until 3 and then you take a walk break, and he never let you do that because he was a workaholic. So you guys always worked hours and hours and hours. Do that. Take a break. Whatever it is. Slowly build and change on that routine, and eventually you'll get to a place where it's yours and it'll feel like every day you now get to live your best self. You get to live in a way that's manageable for your life based on what you want and what you need. And eventually you'll get to a place where what you like and what you do and what you feel is entirely yours. And you can present yourself to the world in an entirely new way. Anybody that tells you you don't change after a breakup would be lying, quite honestly. I know I have, especially after the ones where there wasn't really a reason to break up. There wasn't really anything necessarily wrong. It wasn't going to go anywhere at that moment in time. And those are heavy and they're hard to deal with. But when no one's necessarily at fault, I think those are the only breakups where you can actually take some solace out of it, because it's your opportunity now to just keep growing and building on your own. So that's what I would do in terms of routine and figuring out what you even like anymore. Fill it in with new stuff. Don't shock your system too badly if you're not ready for that. Don't completely uproot what you're doing. But if you can avoid leaning into the depression and like staying in bed for hours and hours and hours, not eating, not seeing your friends, not getting out. It's summertime right now, so like you need to go be outside, go have fun. You don't necessarily need to push yourself. Don't get on the apps too early until you actually feel like you're ready, because I know if you do that, it could crash you out. It could make you feel worse potentially. So don't rush that. Like lean into understanding who you are and what you want now, because now you are living solo for the first time in 8 years. So you need to rediscover who you are on your own without this other person, because your lives were so blended together. I'm going back to the apartment to get my last few things. I don't really want him there. Ooh, I worry confronting him. What can I do? Okay, confronting him again. When you go back to the apartment, if you can't get in without him being there, I don't know how you're going to avoid it unless you guys have a landlord or somebody else with an extra spare key that could let you back in, or just texting and asking politely, I need to come by. This is my free hour. Can you please make sure that either my stuff is at the door so I can just grab it and go, or this is when I would like to get it. Please, don't be there situation. I'll leave the spare key or the whatever you have to drop off for them. I'll leave it there. Something like that. Otherwise, if you don't want to go to the apartment at all and your stuff is already packed and there's not that much left, maybe going to the apartment might be too hurtful or hard. Could they drop it off at your office and you could pick it up later when nobody has to see you or you don't have to see each other? Or I don't know that your sister would be willing to do this, but a sister or a friend, someone else could go to the apartment and grab it for you if you're not ready to be there. I don't think there's anything wrong about you not being ready to be there. If it's just too tough, it is what it is. But if you cannot avoid it and they will be there when you show up, then take a deep breath and realize and acknowledge that this moment might be awkward as hell and it may be difficult to get through, but you're there, you're on a mission. Do not treat this like you're walking into Target for, your short list of 5 items and you walk out with 17 and $500 later, but go in, get your stuff, keep the conversation short and sweet. You don't need to say much of anything. Grab it and go. If it's furniture and like bigger things, definitely plan all that out. Definitely have movers with you. Do not let them bother you or get in the way of certain stuff. Do not be the person moving with them. That's kind of what happened to me once. I broke up with somebody and we were supposed to be moving into a new house together or they broke up with me. We were supposed to be moving into a new house together and I did not renew my lease. I canceled everything because I thought we were moving in together. And then they broke up with me and I had to drive out to our shared storage unit to get my stuff before the move. And I had to put it in another storage unit until I could find a place to live on my own. And so I had to leave work early one day, get a rental car or rental van and drive it out there to the storage unit. But they were there and they were the only ones helping me move the furniture. And it was awful because they wanted to make small talk and I'm pretty sure I was mean. I think I said maybe 1 max 3-word responses to anything that they said. I just got the stuff and left and cried the whole way back to my new storage unit. It was awful. And so if you don't want to go through that, get somebody to go with you so you can stay focused, get movers, or ask them to please don't be there. And hopefully they will be respectful of that and give you the space to take what you need. Do not do something petty. Do not go into the house. Don't go into the apartment and destroy shit. You might have a major urge to do that. Just pick stuff up off the walls, cut things, stab things, break things, or even take stuff. If they disagreed and they said they wanted to keep the blender, but you really wanted it, buy a different blender, bitch. Buy a different blender. You don't need it. Get one from Amazon. Ask Santa Claus for one at the end of the year. I don't know, whatever you got to do. Do not take something that then causes a fight to then keep that person in your life longer than necessary. Don't. It is done. There is nothing that they could possibly say or possibly find in this situation to make it better. They've already told you something is missing from this relationship for them, but not from you. So we're going to let that go. So I hope everything goes okay. I'm sure by the time I read this, you have already been to the house. So let me know how it went. Like hopefully everything was okay and they were respectful and let you go in there alone and they did not show up as you asked. But if you're worried about seeing them again too soon, take someone with you that can help and not let you get to a vulnerable place where you either make a mistake, say something you regret, do something you regret. Don't do it. But yeah, how do I move on from someone that I thought I was meant to be with? How do I recover from something is missing? When I became everything he ever wanted, if I'm not living for him and not living for our life together anymore, what am I supposed to do? Okay, yeah. I think the only way that you can move on from someone that you thought you were meant to be with is time. Not jumping into something early to numb how you really feel. Not jumping back onto the apps to avoid being lonely. I made that mistake once and it ended up putting me in an abusive situation. And I stayed in that abusive situation a lot longer than necessary. And now that I've had the hindsight moment, I think I jumped into something new right after a really difficult breakup where nobody really did anything wrong. It just wasn't working. And I stayed in that really bad, toxic situation because I was punishing myself. I was punishing myself for not making it work. I was punishing myself for letting a good person go. I was punishing myself because I felt so unworthy, or helpless. How could I have not tried harder to make it work. How could I have not believed in us? And I let somebody abuse me. And it was one of the worst years of my life. And it took a very, very long time to realize what I had done to myself. At that time, I just assumed, the dumb thing when you're in your young 20s, I can change this person if I'm kind to them because they had a bad childhood or they did this or whatever, and they'll see that I'm good enough. And that's not the case. So I would spend this time working on you, thinking about yourself, thinking about what you need to do, and not trying to blend into becoming whatever that missing piece was. Because you're not a missing piece. You're someone else's piece, just not his. And I know it sounds kind of stupid, but that's what I would do. Lean into the help from your sister, get help during the move. But don't ever tell yourself that you are unworthy because you didn't fit or you didn't do enough for this other person. Because that's not true. You are absolutely worthy of a loving and happy relationship. It just means that for whatever reason, this one broke down. And hopefully, through hindsight and maybe therapy, you'll find a way to figure out where the breakdown happened and how to avoid that the next time you meet someone, or how to avoid that when you find the person that is right for you. So that way you don't get blindsided again when something difficult comes up in your future relationships. So I wish you the absolute best. If you have any follow-up, feel free to write back. Hopefully, when you go to the apartment, you're able to get all your stuff. And I hope you enjoy figuring out what you like now, who you are, what you want, what you enjoy, what brings you joy. And whether or not you even like coffee, I don't know. Join the club. But that's what I think you could spend the summer doing. Have your own, not necessarily a glow up, because that's kind of a controversial thing, I think sometimes, but get older, hotter, wiser, honestly. Figure out what it is that you love and what you enjoy, and don't take out the pain on yourself or your sister. And I think you'll be okay. But pretty much the only thing that's going to help you is time. So give it some time and don't rush into something just to avoid feeling lonely. And don't rush into a new relationship if you're not genuinely feeling whole on your own. Because if you try and fill your breakup, the crack in your heart from that breakup, if you try to fill that crack with something, anything, I can guarantee you it's only going to crack again and deeper than before. And then it's 2 times as hard to recover. So I gotta go. That was a longer message than normal. So I hope everybody has a great week and that none of you are going through a heartbreak. But if you are, I hear you, I see you, I feel you. I've been there before and it's really, really tough. But lean into who you are and what you want and rebuild your routine. Start really small until you get to a place where you feel comfortable and powerful, very secure in who you are, because that'll set you up for success with the next person. But love you, mean it. Like, subscribe, leave a review, share with your friends, share with your family, anybody you think that could benefit from the show or listening to these episodes. It means the absolute world to me. If you ever want to submit a question or want me to respond to something that you have going on, feel free to submit an email, hello@podcastforthelost.com, or you can send an anonymous question via the description box of this or show notes of this episode. And until next week, we have a new episode coming out Friday with Mike Tech You. Definitely go check that out. And remember, wanderers are always welcome.